Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Starkville Christmas Classic. We're up here for some round 2 lead card action. Starting right in at hole 1, par 3, 277 or 272 feet. Excuse me, can't read. Just a nice simple hyzer, or you can go straight at it, or you can throw a forehand hyzer. So we'll see how our players choose to attack this. As you can hear, the wind is not happy with us today. Up first, Edgar Bedolla, I think is how he told me to pronounce it. Opting for the wide backhand hyzer here. And he'll have a great look at the 2, about 15 or so feet. Familiar face, Kyle Watson showing up. Also opting for the hyzer play. This one a little bit too far to the left, so he'll have a little bit of a tester putt from that pampas grass. Hunter Martin joining us once again. Hunter Martin, gosh dang it. Ooh, throwing really wide. And he will be in the thick stuff. Not as thick as it could be in the summer, but still pretty thick. Sean, taking no time, stepping up, throwing a shot. Not getting quite enough flip on that. He'll end up in a little bit of a tough spot in that pampas grass. And if you watch the Dog Days Open, we'll have another familiar face, Ensz. Not quite enough flip on this, and he'll go a bit long of the basket because he's just huge. Here we have Hunter from in the thick stuff. You can barely see him, and he had to pitch out backwards, which is really unfortunate. And Hunter once again with a tester for the 3. Never really giving this the height it needed. A little bit of an uphill putt, so, you know. We have Kyle off the basket. Up next, I believe, is Sean. As you can see, pampas grass very thick, also very sharp. Not very fun to have to go in that stuff. And Sean is good for the 2. Great way to start your round. Here we have Corwin. Just a little bit low on that putt. Here we have Edgar, the current leader by 3 strokes. Increasing that lead by another stroke here on the first hole. Corwin for the 3. Should expect to see the rest of our players tap in their pars as well as the single bogey from Hunter. Moving on to hole 2, par 3, 186 feet. This is a straight shot with a dog leg, not even a dog leg, this is just straight shot and then an immediate left turn into the green, or through this gap rather. The traditional play would be just the overstable disc on a skip shot, or the local route is to just try and throw over everything, which we'll see Edgar attempt here. And ending up in a fantastic spot, probably about 10 or so feet. Sean up now. A little bit of slippage there. Didn't trust his footing, so he stopped. And he ended up a bit long of the basket, so he probably threw about 240 or so feet past the basket in a straight line. Kyle Watson now, also opting for this over everything line. He'll end up a bit to the left. So he'll have a bit of an obstructed putt in some shrubbery. There should be Corwin. And this will also end up in that shrubbery to the left of the basket. And Hunter bringing up the rear, opting for this forehand line again. I really wish I knew what disc this was that he threw. And in a fantastic spot. Here we have Sean, very lucky to get out to this open area. Giving this a good bid, but just leaving it a bit wide. Corwin from in the thick stuff. Giving that a little forehand flick run.
Dude, I was hoping you made that. It looked like it.
And Sean, of course, showing why he's so cool to have on the card. Just really positive person. I think if I could pick anybody to be on my card, I would choose both Sean and Corwin, like regardless of the situation. Just two really fun, positive people. Here we have Kyle with his pretty obstructed look. Having to straddle out around that bush. And just too obstructed. Couldn't really give it the height he wanted. Here we have Hunter. See that? I pronounced the T properly. Here we got Hunter. Using all the right side of the chains, getting a great shot here. Good bounce back from that bogey on one. Here we have Edgar, just a little bit behind the basket. Probably 15 feet at most. And he's just on fire. 2 for 2 now. Should expect the rest of our card to tap in their threes. And then we move on to hole 3. Hole 3, par 3, 325 feet. This is a very straight shot with a little bit of a right finish at the very end. You see there's just this little tiny culvert in the woods here. Pretty thick on the left. There's a little bit of an alley on the right. No OB as far as I'm aware on this hole. But if you do miss, primarily you'd like to miss on that right side so you have a look at the basket. And if you go a bit long left, you'll be very sad because it's super thick. Here we have Edgar up first. Throwing a nice little almost flex shot here. Getting some good ground play. And he should be almost under the basket, if not under the basket. Here we have Hunter. A little bit of a gallery on this lead card. And Hunter throwing this one a bit too wide left, and he'll end up in that thick stuff. Here we have Sean. Opting for the backhand play. As I said previously, he does not have a very serviceable forehand. Throwing a great line here. Perfect disc choice, perfect stability, perfect line. He'll end up pretty much parked. Great execution from Sean. Here we have Kyle Watson. Also opting for the wide over staple forehand play. And really unfortunate to skip up into the tree and just drop. Not the result you'd like to see. Here's Corwin taking no time.
Ooh, that's all air. Get in it.
Almost acing this. This was absolutely short. Here we have Hunter with a very obstructed look. You can see how thick that stuff is. Just tiny little branches and twigs that'll stop your disc dead in their tracks. Giving that a good run considering the circumstances. He'll have an easy 3. Kyle Watson for his 2. And he's good for it, as we should expect from that distance. He's not Kyle Gray after all, you know. He's real hit or miss. Sean for his 2. Fantastic shot from him. As you see, Corwin not quite as short as we thought he was. Great throw from him. And he's good for his 2, using all the backside of the basket to catch the disc. Edgar with his tap in. Great 2 from him. And just a par cleanup for Hunter. That's a stroke. That wasn't in his lie. That was in front of it. On to hole 4, par 3, 266 feet. Nice and open on either side, but you can't really go straight at it with this low ceiling tree you've got right here. And if you get stuck in that tree, it'll just kick you straight down. It's very, very thick. This grass also a bit bitey, not great for skips. But it's a nice short hole, so you can kind of just attack it however you like with your lefty or righty. Here we see Edgar lining up that forehand, looking like a raptor right here. Throwing it out nice and wide and low. Getting a little bit of a skip there, but not as big a skip as you would like. But he should have a good look at the 2. Sean up now. Lining up that backhand. We saw him absolutely park this in round 1. Throwing a nice inside shot. And this is perfect, yeah. Getting a lot of ground play off of the part under the tree that's not grassy. Kyle Watson opting for the forehand as well, but throwing a bit too straight at it. And this will skip actually into that culvert where Hunter was during round 1. Not a happy memory for him. Corwin. Nice and low. Perfect angle for the skip.
I haven't seen nobody skip that far off that grass.
Yeah, here's Sean. Yeah, this grass did not like to skip a lot, so that was a great, perfect angle selection or angle execution. Hunter throwing a bit high, but it sneaks underneath it. And he'll have a good look at the 2 as well. Up first, we have Kyle. Pretty much exactly where Hunter was during the first round. Sailing by the basket, unfortunately. Here we have Edgar with a little bit of a tester, just a little bit closer than Kyle was. But he's on fire, so it doesn't matter. Jogging that one in. Not quite running it, but jogging it in. Good 2 from him. Keeping that lead. Getting a nice bit of cushion. Got Kyle up again. Good for his part. Hunter for the 2. Nice and center and low. No chance to spit through the other side. Keeping up with his routine of tapping the basket. Sean for his 2. Nice committed putt. A little bit left side, but still went in. And Corwin for his absolute tap-in. Amazing shot from him. Moving on to hole 5, par 3, 289 feet. It's a little bit of a narrow gap you got to hit with the tree on the left and the tree on the right, so a little bit of risky hyzer play. So most likely you want to kind of go straight at it with a little bit of a flex. Looks like Edgar's throwing his really beat up zone here. Throwing really high here. And he'll filter down behind that tree. He'll have a little bit of an obstructed putt. A little bit of a tester, I would say. Here's Sean up now. Throwing a bit of a straight shot here. And parking it. Absolute tap-in from him. Or for him, sorry. Here's Corwin up now. Corwin landing right next to Edgar. Trying to give it a little bit of an ace run there. Here we have Hunter. And absolutely parking it directly under the basket. And Kyle. Great disc selection, great execution here for him. Here we have Corwin. Pretty obstructed behind this tree, has to straddle out. Thankfully he's got those long legs. Very excited about that make. Excellent 2 from him. Edgar from only a foot or so closer. Still opting to straddle a bit. Just make sure that tree isn't in his way. Excellent make here by him. Absolutely on fire. And we should see a start frame here with the rest of our players tapping in their birdies. Amazing performance. Moving on to hole 6, par 3, 380 feet. Probably the hardest hole on the course. You have this straight tunnel shot with a low ceiling and a mandatory to the left of that first tree. So you can't just throw a hyzer over the field here. A little bit of a hill to throw over, so low ceiling, high ceiling, or high gap, whatever. I don't know how to say that, but it's a really long shot and it's a really tight shot. Edgar up first. And absolutely lacing this one down here. One of the best shots that probably has ever been recorded on this hole. Here's Sean up now. Opting for the roller again. Saw him get to edge of circle 1 first round. And this one was looking amazing, and then it got to this hill and just decided to roll down. He'll not be OB, but tough look. Kyle Watson now. He caught pretty early here, and he'll be more to the right in the field of tall grass. Corwin now. Ending up right in that field. Hunter finally. Whack! Hitting that big oak tree. This was an amazing shot. This was every bit of 400 feet. There we see Kyle just laying up. Corwin from only 20 or so feet further up than Kyle was. A little bit of a risky play with the hyzer, but it sits down nicely. Edgar from, I don't know, probably 40, 50 feet.
Get it. Yeah.
The only two on the day.
Somebody calm him down.
Absolutely on a tear. Getting some well-deserved props from his competitors there. Hunter from long for his look at the birdie. Just a little bit low. Sean from just a little bit closer. Great look at the two. This is a very good drive. Very committed putt, just a little bit offline. It's really hard to catch Edgar when he's just on this streak. So far, he's birdied every single hole up to this point. Kyle cleaning up his par. And should expect the rest of our competitors to do the same. Ooh, a little bit of a scary putt there. Almost spitting out the backside. I don't think the basket deserved that tap there.
That's how crazy it was.
On to hole 7, par 3, 289 feet. This drone is going to show us the regular layout position, but if you saw round 1, you'll know that it's much further to the left, and by much further I mean like 60 or 70 feet further to the left. Much better for pace of play, but it's almost the same shot. Just brings the OB road more into play, and the OB creek will be right in front of where the basket is. Most of our players probably going to opt for the forehand, or unless you're Sean, then you're going to opt for the backhand. Edgar up first, throwing that really beat-in zone. Getting some nice flex here. And absolutely parked. Almost the same shot he threw round 1. Here's Sean now. Like I suspected. Throwing the backhand.
Oops.
And not getting a good angle on this one, unfortunately. Ending up OB over the road.
It's just on the side. Just like, yeah.
Kyle Watson now. Dunk. Whacking that tree. You hate to see it. Corwin ends.
Nope. Hit something.
And
Hit something, something. No.
he's too big.
Oh, you're about me.
Way too big. And threw it OB.
Hit mine.
That's me. Hey.
Hunter trying to tell the guy to get out of the line of play. Like, hey man, move over there. We're trying to throw. We're right up here. Ooh, very early release here.
That's insane. Come on.
Nice catch by the curb there to keep him in bounds. Here we have Kyle from his unfortunate tree hit. Throwing his ice blue bird. Hitting those branches but kicking straight down in front of the basket, so not terrible. Here's Hunter for his birdie bid. Nice putt from Hunter. Corwin with his look at par. And just leaving this one a bit wide.
Oh, you're fine. I was going to mark it.
They went out about the same area, so they're taking their meter from about the same spot. Although, to be honest, I think he actually went out further back, but good bid for his par, but have to settle for the bogey. Kyle Watson now for his 3. Good up and down for hitting the first tree. Corwin saying that, oh yeah, that definitely wasn't your turn to play, but it's fine. Corwin for his bogey from much too long a range than you'd like, especially for a bogey putt. And just a little undercommitted. And he'll have a look for his double bogey. Edgar for his 2. So far birdieing every single hole up to this point. Absolutely on a tear. Corwin with the unfortunate double bogey, and then Sean with the tap-in bogey. And hole 8, par 3, 272 feet. Like I said in the first round, one of my absolute favorite holes. Just a really fun hole. You've got all these trees to the right, and then you've got that big magnolia tree to the left that'll just magnetize and collect your discs, even though it's not magnetic and their discs aren't made of metal, but it still collects them anyway. And then you've got this nice cool hanging basket here right next to the tee for 9. Just a really cool hole. OB road, of course, but no other OBs as far as I'm aware, no mandatories. Plays pretty far uphill, so probably closer to 330 or 320 feet in distance, but Edgar first. Throwing a bit too stable, and he'll end up in the magnolia tree there.
You work at that. You get that.
Sean still being a positive reinforcement. Here's Hunter. Throwing a great shot here. He'll end up in a good spot for the 2. I'd love to know if anybody's ever aced this hole. That'd be sick. Kyle Watson now. Throwing a great shot here, but a little bit long of where you'd like. Or, I'm sorry, excuse me, short of where you would like. He'll have a bit of a tester for the birdie, but easy up and down. Here's Sean. Throwing a fantastic flex line, ending up in a great spot. A little bit obstructed behind the tree, but really good throw from him. Here's Corwin throwing a fuse. Absolutely parking it. A great shot from him after a little bit of a wait because there was a car coming down the road. Here's Edgar from inside the magnolia tree.
Hey, just like we drew it up, Edgar.
And we can't see it, but he's right there under the basket now. So absolutely perfect scramble shot. Here's Kyle for his 2. Just high left.
Dang.
Probably me.
Corwin for his 2. Fantastic shot from him. Well-deserved birdie. Hunter for his 2, I believe. Sean with the nice tap in 2 there.
Touch that.
Kyle tapping in his 3. And Edgar to tap in his 3. Fantastic scramble shot from him. And the final hole of our front 9, hole 9, par 3, 395 feet. Mandatory to the left of this magnolia tree, to the right that we're just passing through the middle of the 2. Then you got these 2 big guardian magnolia trees that catch a lot of discs. And then you have this OB ditch, and then an OB road surrounding the basket. So very, very treacherous. Even if you throw a good shot, you could still end up with an obstructed look. Hunter up first. On a bit of a tear himself. Birdie, birdie. See if he can make it a turkey.
Yep.
Saucy.
That looks great.
Get in the hole.
That looks
Get
great.
in the hole. Get in the hole.
Ooh. That was pretty.
Next best thing.
That was great.
As you can hear, it was a good shot. And so I moved, so hopefully we can see them. And Sean ended up in one of those guardian magnolia trees. Here's Corwin. Landing right next to the basket. A very good hole to get the 2 on. This is a bonus birdie for most people. Edgar now. Changing from forehand to backhand, which is a really interesting choice, but let's see if it pays off. I was about to say, let's see how it plays out. That's not my catchphrase. And he'll end up much further to the left in the one of those guardian magnolia trees. Kyle Watson now. Throwing a great shot here. Landed right next to where Corwin is. And here's Sean. Trying to ring up the birdie.
I was just tall enough to make that shot work.
Unfortunately, we missed my joke. You mean short enough. Edgar giving this a
Hey,
good
that's
bid.
a lot of mistletoe for a little bitty tree.
Yeah, talking about that tree that was just middle frame. Kyle for his 2. Corwin for his 2. And here's where Hunter's disc landed. Yeah, you hear Corwin saying 3 of the best drives he's ever seen on this hole. Those were fantastic. Awesome, awesome threes.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And then Edgar and Sean to tap into 3, and that will conclude the front 9 of the second round of the Starkville Christmas Classic. Hopefully I'll catch you all on the back 9.
Oh, people are gross.
Yeah, I agree. Humans.
Yeah, man.